Law enforcement in many major cities across the U.S. are on alert now at this hour. As of right now, the Homeland Security Department says there are no specific or credible threats stemming from the Israel-Hamas war, but they say they are not taking any chances. For more on security concerns here in the U.S., I want to bring in ABC News contributor and former acting undersecretary for intelligence at the Department of Homeland Security, John Cohen. John, thanks for taking the time. We know that Jews here in the U.S. and around the world are concerned, some downright scared, following the attacks by Hamas terrorists on Israel. The Department of Homeland Security, however, says they don't see a specific threat, at least from Hamas in the U.S., but we are seeing large police presence still at synagogues and Jewish institutions. Talk to us more about how DHS assesses potential threats like this.
Yeah, hi, it's nice to be with you. You know, as you pointed out, I've led DHS intelligence operations during 2 administrations. And over the last decade, I really would prefer that we move away from that phrase, no intelligence regarding a specific or credible threat. I think it's out of touch with the reality of the threat environment as we now know it. And I think it tends to cause confusion. So while it may be technically true that there may be no intelligence regarding an operational attack by Hamas operatives in the U.S., that's not really the primary threat we need to be concerned about here in the domestic environment. What we need to be concerned about is the potential for residual violence by individuals who are viewing the significant amount of online content calling for attacks directed at the Jewish community here in the United States, attacks directed at government officials from the United States, attacks directed at Israeli government facilities in the United States. In the current environment, it's online content that is motivating individuals and small groups to engage in activity. So there may not be any intelligence picked up by the intelligence community prior to an attack. So what DHS should really be focusing on right now is 3 things: describing the threat to the public, describing what's being done to counteract the threat, and informing the public on what they should do.
Yeah, you know, what you say makes an awful lot of sense, because we've been told by law enforcement now for years in this country that the lone wolf could be one of the biggest problems. Hamas probably doesn't have any kind of capability to attack this country like they did attack Israel. But you're right, it's the people who are getting indoctrinated by watching, you know, the videos and who are getting angry, and then the shift becomes, you know, a day of rage. Let's just go find a Jewish institution. That was what we were all afraid of on Friday. The messaging from DHS and the government, you talked a little bit about that. Can you go into more detail on what you think both DHS and the government should be telling the people of this country?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail right on the head. The primary terrorism threat facing the United States today, and it's been this way for several years, is potential acts of targeted violence motivated by ideological beliefs that are acquired through the consumption of online content. You know, as the events in the Middle East were evolving over the past, last weekend, we began to see significant amounts of graphic, violent content being placed on Russian forums, Iranian forums, Hamas-related forums, Al-Qaeda forums, and neo-Nazi online forums, not only praising Hamas, but calling for attacks in the United States. So we've also seen calls for mass demonstrations. And look, some of these demonstrations, many of them are going to be peaceful, but we've also seen these demonstrations deteriorate into confrontational interactions. We've seen calls for cyber attacks directed at U.S. and state and local governments, at Jewish facilities as well. So what DHS should be doing right now is describing that to the American public, and then again, sort of addressing the contradiction. You can't say on the one hand that there's no threat, then on the other hand have an enhanced police presence around government facilities, public places, and religious institutions, and have these large-scale demonstrations that may be causing people to be fearful.
Yeah, you're right. It's sort of a mixed message. John Cohen, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.